All right. Welcome back to episode 4 to Just an Introvert podcast. My name is Amy,
And I'm Abbie.
and we're so excited to do our episode. I realize that sometimes we just jump right in, but I thought I'd ask, how are you doing?
Yes. I know we got some feedback that it's nice to introduce our names for people that don't know us to tell our voices apart. So we're going to be more intentional about that. But yes, hello everyone. Thanks for coming back again for more. We appreciate you listening and interacting and following and reviews and all that stuff. So I'm glad to have you.
Yes. So how's your week been so far?
Um, it's been good. We had a weekend that was supposed to be unplanned, like we had nothing going on, and because we had crazy weekends, and then both my kids got sick. So, in the true spirit of motherhood, as this episode is about, that was how it went. So,
Mm,
yeah, the
sick
joys.
kids. That is just the
Yeah,
gift that keeps on giving, especially when
yes,
they're young.
yes, never ending. But what about you? How's your
It's
week been?
good. I'm tired. Easter, I'm going back a few weeks to Easter. We're
Mhm.
very busy at our church all weekend, and then we used to have Easter break off after, and we don't anymore, or it's winter or spring break is earlier, so we just jumped right into the week, and I had some things going on during the week, so I was dragging. So I'm still tired from all that. So, but we're
Recovering.
hanging in there. School year's coming to an end, and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. So
Yep, it's that
it's all good.
downhill. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, almost there.
exactly. Almost there. All right. Well, let's start in our regular uh fashion with the icebreaker. And I
Yes.
realized last time when you asked the icebreaker, I sort of chickened out and made you go first. And I realized the point of an icebreaker is really not to have a lot of time to think about it. And so I'm not going to do that this time. So what do
Yeah,
you
you
have for
you
us
truly
today?
introverted the icebreaker
I
last
I
time. That was
did. I
great.
did.
Oh, okay. So this is one that I have definitely heard so many times, and I have a great story as to what my response always is. So I will tell that when I respond. But the icebreaker is, what is a hidden talent that you have?
Ooh, a hidden talent.
Anything special, unique, or just something that would
Wh-
set you apart?
okay. Well, um, okay, I think a hidden talent for me is I can play music by ear pretty easily. So when we're in our worship band practices, everybody uses music. I don't for the worship songs because I'm not necessarily I'm kind of playing harmony, and I kind of get to do my own thing during it, and I just don't, my fingers just know where to go. It's just weird. Like when I have to read music, I can read it, but for some reason I'm just able to do it without music. So that's one of my hidden
Yeah,
talents.
that's
Now I'm
that's
thinking
impressive.
I'm thinking back to when I was younger. I used to be able to, I don't know if you ever did this, but I had a hallway and I used to be able to climb up, shimmy up the wall.
Like
And
Spider-Man.
yeah, and I think that was pretty impressive to your dad, my brother, Kirk. And I remember one time he told me to do it, go up to highest I could go, and then he ran away or walked away, and then I couldn't get down, and like my parents were coming. I don't know. He set me up. So I don't know. That I guess that was a hidden talent. I don't
Oh
think I
my
could do
gosh.
that today,
Yeah, no, I was
but
gonna say we should see if that still stands.
yeah, so I think that's probably not so much a talent of mine anymore. But
Yes.
anyway, so
Yes.
that is mine. How about you?
Nice. Okay, so I recently realized I can no longer do it, but for most of my life I could. So I used to be able to lick my elbow, and I don't know if you remember this, but I have a vivid memory of finding it out. We were at Thanksgiving at your guys' house, and we were all sitting at the table eating, and I think it was Niles got something on his elbow, like food or something, and someone's like, "Oh, you should just lick the food off," and we're like, "Ah, ha, ha, it's humanly impossible." So we're all just like, trying to do it, and I was like, "Oh, I can do it," and everyone's like, yeah, whatever," and I'm like, "No, seriously, like, guys, I can do it," and so ever since, that's been my go-to. which is great, but then it immediately backfires and I would fall into this every time. Like I'd be in a college class or whatever, and they're like, introduce yourself and tell us something about yourself, whatever. I would always be like, oh, I can lick my elbow. The follow-up then is always, okay, so show us. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have to do this in front of my entire class. And then it's like, yes, it's, they say it's humanly impossible. It's impressive, but it's kind of just like, okay. And then we move on. And then I'm like, gosh dang it, I'm the weird elbow girl again. And it's like, again, every time I would do it. And then I'm like, I need to stop doing this because this is just, it never ends well.
Well, now you're gonna make me want to try it. I'm gonna
Yes.
have to
And
try it and see if I
I
can do
tried it
that.
the other day and I was like, oh no, like, am I officially old now? Like, I can't do it. And it was only on the right side. I don't know
Okay.
why.
I was gonna ask, was there a
Yeah.
certain side that was
Okay, now
more flexible?
I gotta try now that we're here.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. If
All
I can do
right.
this, I'm gonna be so impressed.
She's pushed up her sleeve. Let's
Getting
see.
real.
Drum
Oh, I
roll.
can't do it. No, I
Oh, you're
can't.
so
Oh,
close.
like right there. I don't know if it was like my shoulder, my elbow, something I was double jointed, but here I am, weird elbow girl yet again. It just doesn't escape me, but oh,
Oh, that's good.
yes.
That was a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Hidden talents. Perfect. Okay, now let's go onto the would you rather. So here is my scenario. I've picked a grocery store. I actually I hardly ever go into a grocery store anymore. I do grocery pickup, but anyway, this is as if you were actually shopping in the store and went to the cashier. So, would you rather take your cart up with a huge load and then after everything's rung up, pull out a baggie full of paper coupons for every single item? Or would you rather have the huge grocery load and have them subtotal it like every 3 items and pay for it separately with a check?
Oh gosh. I'd have to do the coupons because I
Coupons?
benefit from the coupons. The check is just that's just like no one wins in that situation. Also, I do have a checkbook. I know I'm a millennial, but I know how to write a check. But yeah, no, I would that would just feel like why? But the coupons I'd be like, "Hey, I'm saving money, leave me alone." So that would be my choice.
Your choice. I think that
Yes.
would be mine too, because even though that's kind of painful, they can at least just scan,
Yep.
where pulling out your checkbook every 3 or 4 items would be a
Gosh.
nightmare.
Yeah, that would be rough.
I have
Um,
a quick story. I went to the dollar store and I was getting some things. I didn't realize how many things you can get from the dollar store because I usually just pop in and I was like, I think I could. It was before Christmas. I had a bunch of errands and I'm like, I think I can get all of my stuff here. They have gift cards. I was thinking I was gonna have to run like to Walgreens and stuff, but I'm like, this is one stop shop. So I
yeah.
grabbed all my gift cards. I got like 10 of them. Get up there, scan my stuff, and then they get to the gift cards. They're like, we have to do each one of these as a separate transaction.
Oh,
And I was like, I
gosh.
was so embarrassed because the person behind me was probably like, seriously? I'm just like, and then I was like, is my credit card going to be like flagged because they just see
Freaking out
gift card, gift card.
at the dollar store, no
Yeah.
less.
So anyway, I was like,
Uh,
okay, well, that was a little
so
embarrassing,
you've
but
you've lived that one a little bit then. That
I
one's a
did a
little
little
real.
bit.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's good.
Uh,
Those are
okay.
so fun.
Yeah, those are fun. All right. So let's get started with what we're talking about this week, which is motherhood, being an
Woohoo.
introvert, as a mom. And yeah, this we're gonna talk about there's just lots to talk about with motherhood.
Yes.
So probably a good place to start would be just your background on just becoming a mother. So what's
Mhm.
your background of your journey of
Yeah.
becoming a mom?
Yep. So I think I mentioned the first episode, my husband and I have been married for almost this year will be 7 years. We knew we wanted kids. We talked about it, when we were dating and, we had our like little ideal plan laid out. And so 2 years after we got married, we got pregnant with my daughter, Jane. Um, and, we were very excited and, first pregnancy and, um, pregnancy, I'm one of those, and hate me if you want, pregnancy isn't that bad for me. I kind of enjoyed pregnancy. It was like kind of breezed through. Life was good. And then around 32 weeks, my blood pressure went up. At 36 weeks, it went up even more, which won me an induction. So instead of going into labor on my own, they had to give me medication to start just so my blood pressure didn't get out of control towards that end of pregnancy, which I was totally on board with. Things were good. We go to the hospital, it was weird, like cleaning the house, everything was set, and we're leaving. Like when we come home, we're bringing a child. It just was such a weird thing. So we get there, we're like getting all set and again excited. Started off going pretty well. And then about 2 hours in, my water broke on its own, which was like, woohoo, we're doing this. And then soon after, Jane's heart rate just plummeted. And I was a labor and delivery nurse at the time. So I just could read the room. I knew what was happening. It was like, okay, all right, like this happens, waiting for it to come back up. It's not coming up. The nurses are coming in, they're doing all the interventions. And it's like, I'm feeling the weight of this immediately. And then my husband starts to kind of pick up. My mom and my sister-in-law were there at the moment. They didn't totally understand, but then they're like, wait, okay, something's going on. And so the midwife is like, okay, let's see what's happening. She checks me. Come to find out, I had what's called an umbilical cord prolapse. So Jane's umbilical cord, usually baby's head is down in the pelvis, umbilical cord is up above. With my water breaking, that umbilical cord slipped past her head, went through my cervix, and with each contraction, it's completely like cutting off her blood supply. So pretty much is a immediate emergency. I always say it's, go directly to the operating room. Don't stop it, go. Don't collect $200. You just got to get the baby out right away. And because I was early in labor, I didn't have an epidural. I had just barely gotten started. If you do have an epidural, they can usually numb you through that. But for me, they had to put me completely to sleep. So I went in, I wasn't allowed to have anyone with me. I was completely out. Like I remember that ride from the room to the operating room, and it was just like, it really was just like a movie. You're just like laying there seeing like the ceiling tiles pass, and we get there, we get me over to the bed, and they put me out. And the last thing I remember was the nurse like quieting the room to check Jane's heartbeat. And at that point, it was down very, very low. So that was like my last moment of memory. Then I wake up again, very movie like. It was like my eyes are heavy and slowly opening, and I'm just in the worst pain of my life. Just coming out, the speed at which they had to put me under anesthesia means coming out of it is really rough. And I was in that in between of I was still getting the medication out of my system from the operating room, so I couldn't get pain medication. It was just a very long, awful process. And so, I'm waking up, I'm in horrible pain, but I'm also like kind of starting to be like, oh, like, is my baby here? Is she alive? Is she okay? Like, what's happening? Thankfully, she did fantastic. She came out screaming and crying. I cannot thank that team more. They were absolutely incredible from the moment they knew something was wrong to the moment she was born. So, like, get me to the operating room, put me to sleep, open me up, deliver baby was 7 minutes. And that is incredible. So,
Insane. Wow.
it just, they're amazing. And I'm so grateful for them and everything that they do. So all that to say, so that was my experience. And regardless of how your birth goes, it's like you just jump right into it. There's no other, especially with a C-section, there's no other surgery where they're like, hey, you just had major surgery. Okay, within 8 hours, get up, walk, take care of this human, be sleep deprived. Like you just run into it head on. So that's what I did. I just like brought her home. Things were good. I was like, it is what it is. Um, and then about 3 months later, I completely broke down. Like I did not process any of the trauma that happened to me. I think I just went into this nurse mode of like, when you're in those situations as a nurse, you just have to shut everything off, like emotionally, and just focus on, okay, we got to get this job done. And I think that's what I did. And that switch just never went back on for me for a long time. So it was, yeah, it was a lot. This is why I love birth stories. I love to tell mine. I love to hear others. So just as background for how that started. Also, my daughter was born in February of 2020. So the world was quote normal when she was born. And within a week, everything just switched or a couple weeks. It was just such a dramatic shift. So
That's dramatic
becoming
in
an
itself.
yeah, yeah. And it was so bizarre because it's like, okay, you're a new mom, you have this trauma, the world is changing. There's so many things outside of COVID just like happening. And it was such an overwhelming time. So yeah, that was that was Jane.
Mm.
But still, like I remember as soon as we came home, I just had this like, okay, yeah, like I still want more kids. It just was it didn't scare me away from that. I still
Mhm.
like look forward to being a mom. And so I definitely, was ready and whatnot, obviously right away. I was like, gotta process all this. And I've mentioned before, had a lot of like postpartum anxiety, specifically with Jane. Again, given my situation, it kind of makes sense. So
Mhm.
I had to deal with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So then but she was like 18 months, almost 2. We're like, okay, we're ready for another baby, get pregnant, like everything's good. And then I had a miscarriage at between 8 and 10 weeks, kind of depending on specifics. But that was definitely a rough, a rough thing to deal with, especially how everything went with Jane. It was just like your focus is on, okay, as long as we get through and the delivery is fine. That's what I'm worried about. So having a miscarriage, I know it's fairly common. And so that just came out of left field, and that was really hard. And it's such a strange type of grief.
Mm.
And yeah, that was a lot. So,
Mhm.
we get through that. A couple months later, physically, mentally ready to
Mhm.
try again, get pregnant again with my son Owen. And that was, again, pregnancy, like physically for me, is not hard. It's enjoyable. It's whatever. I don't get horribly sick or anything like that. But emotionally, that was so rough because I'm stressed about miscarrying. I'm stressed about my birth. I'm stressed about like every moment. I thought, okay, once I get past, the gestation I was when I had my miscarriage, I'll be fine. No, I was still just like every milestone that I thought
Mhm.
would be helpful.
Mhm.
The stress laid there nonstop. So then going into having my son, I was super anxious, of course, had planned to do a vaginal delivery after a C-section. I went in. It was another long induction, but hey, it was the most beautiful, perfect, redeeming delivery I could have had. It was
Mhm.
like once labor started, it got going, my epidural, I was so comfy. I pushed for maybe 30 minutes,
Mm.
barely tore, didn't feel a thing. It just was
Wow.
like
Yeah.
perfect. It was exactly what I needed. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it was just like, again, so redeeming from beginning to end.
Yeah.
And, but jokes on me, still got depressed. So that
Mm.
was definitely, just, it's given me a lot of insight. And, even though everything goes well,
Mhm.
um, that doesn't matter. It's a huge hormone shift that happens when you have babies. And, um, yeah, so for me, a lot of my experiences are very I wouldn't say skewed, but I would say it's definitely like not average, not normal, to have like the crazy stories and all those things that impact you. And um but I feel like for me, I'm a big advocate of like sharing my story. Again, I love
Mhm.
telling that.
Mhm.
And that was definitely the abridged version. I could do a whole hour of telling all the
Yeah.
details, but
Sure.
I think it's really important to have that background as far as kind of becoming a mom and where I started, where I am. And my son is now what, February, March, 16 months. My daughter's a little over 4, and we are done having children. We thought we wanted 3 kids, and then we got to 2, and it just, with everything that happened, I'm like, you know what? Again, even though Owen's birth experience was beautiful and perfect and
Mhm.
great, like I just felt like my family's complete. I'm done. And to have
Mhm.
that stark difference, to have like all this trauma and still want another kid and then have it go well and be like, I'm good. So my
Yeah.
husband and I just knew like we're done, to and through. It's good. Like, cool. So we're now in the like it's fun to hit milestones with Owen when it's like, oh, we don't have to do that again. So now we're just kind of like moving forward with that. So that's kind of my background, my experiences, my trauma dump
That's
of the episode.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
you
me.
have quite a story with Jane. I remember all that happening and just
Oh,
I remember seeing you right before you went in and it was like, oh,
yeah.
she's going in and and then to hear all that you went through. And the fact that I think you being a labor and delivery nurse, and
Yeah.
I think your personality really lent to just the calmness that I heard about, that you
Mhm.
were able to just not freak out yourself at the moment, but just kind of,
Yeah.
you knew what needed to what they needed to do, and I think that just all helped
Yeah.
instead of someone who was panicking.
Panicking. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. And that
wow.
brings up a funny story. There was one moment when I got into the operating room, the anesthesiologist, he was so sweet. I think he had a student with it. There was two. I remember there was two people. And so everyone else in the room knew I was a labor and delivery nurse. So they were pretty, they knew I knew what was
Hmm.
happening. I knew it needed to happen. I think the anesthesiologists were the only ones that didn't. So, he's trying to like maintain some level of like bedside manner. And he's like, okay, I'm going to have to blah, blah, blah. Like
Yeah.
mid sentence, which is so not like me. I was like, I just looked straight at him and I said, I know what you need to do. Just do it. Because in my mind, I'm like, don't like, I don't need the fluff, the nice, just
Yes.
like put me out.
Just, yes.
Thankfully, afterwards, my mom talked to him and, they laughed about it and realized that I wasn't just being a horrible person. I was
Yeah,
just
but
like,
no, you just knew what
I knew. I'm like, I
the
don't need
situation
the, yeah,
was.
yep, put me to sleep. So my one little moment of just like, oh, which again, not typical for my personality. So definitely brought
Yeah.
that out in me.
Yeah. Well, definitely.
Yes.
Well, yes, definitely certain experiences will
Yeah,
change the way you
for
are,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
that's amazing stuff. And your kiddos are so adorable. I love them so much.
Yes. They
Um,
love you. So yeah, tell me
oh,
about you and your
so
motherhood journey.
I always knew I wanted kids. I knew I wanted two. I always knew that. I just I'm a type that doesn't. I grew up with just one sibling. Niles grew up with one sibling. We're used to kind of small gatherings, and so I just wanted two. In my mind was what I wanted. And I also knew I did not want to once I got married, I didn't want to have kids until I was done with school.
Mm.
And so I, of course, I knew things could happen, but my plan was finish school. And before you even do that, I don't want to be dealing with going to school and all that. And I also knew I wanted to stay home with them. So anyway, once I had finished school, got a year of teaching under my belt, I we got pregnant. I got pregnant pretty easily. I'm pretty lucky. I know some people struggle. But I got pregnant, and I remember with Riley, um, I was just kind of under the impression that you don't you don't take drugs you do it naturally. It's just you're like more holy if you do it naturally. And so I had that in my mind. I was like, okay, well then I won't, ask for anything. And then my labor was really long, and by the time I got to, I think I was dilated to a 7, and they said we're gonna have to give you pitocin. There's some the epidural. But I was scared because I heard that there's a window of time where you can't, it's too late. And I'm like, can I still get it? And they said yes. And it was like the heavens opened up and angels were singing, and everything from there was just bliss. I was
It's the
like,
best thing. It is the best
and then
medical
when I got
invention
it, I'm like,
ever.
why in the
Did it
world did
wait?
I wait that long? So anyway, so her birth was pretty typical. I didn't know I was having a girl. That was one thing. I wanted to be
Oh,
surprised with both my kids. Even if I was pregnant today, I'd do the same thing, which a lot of people do not understand. They're like, how can you not know? I'm like, you can. I don't know. It's just there's very few surprises in life. And so that was just, anyway.
and as a
Um,
labor and delivery nurse, we love those births
oh,
so much.
yes.
Even though personally, I was like, no, I gotta know. Like it was just so much fun. We loved being a part of that. We're like, it's not
Yeah,
about us, but it is a really
totally.
special kind of surprise that there's nothing like it.
Yes.
So yeah,
I know. I remember I had one friend who was actually mad at me, like, how can I shop for you? I'm like, hey, just relax.
buy me
Eh,
both.
I know exactly. I mean, they don't need to, yeah. So anyway, so she was born 2002, of course, 9/11. Did not plan that, guys. It was a year
Yeah.
later. It's just kind of funny that, and you have a connection.
Yes.
When's your birthday?
September 11th.
Hey, so we got a couple 9/11
Yes. I'm like, at
in
least
the
I don't have to be
family.
alone in my awkward birthday. Riley's got my
Yes.
back there. She understands.
Yes, yes. So had Riley. I was able to quit my job. I was teaching, and I was able to sub. I was very lucky. I had family in town that could watch. I could have free childcare, and I could also sub a little bit. And then we had Alec. I got pregnant with Alex. Pretty typical pregnancy. His birth was pretty. It was a little maybe quicker. I got my epidural right at the
No
beginning,
messing
but
around.
unfortunately, it wore off
Oh
right in time for
no.
me to get back labor, which is way worse than just regular contractions. And as my midwife is telling me, don't push until I tell you, when she turned her back, the only relief I got was from pushing. I just pushed.
You were one of those.
And when he came out, I saw her face. She almost dropped him because he came out so fast because I was pushing so hard.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he was born. And so yeah, 2.5 years. I had a girl and a boy. One thing I was going to say, I really, really wanted a girl, but I didn't want to tell
Mm,
anybody that because I didn't want to sound like I was going to be disappointed if it was a boy.
yeah.
But when we found out it was a girl, I was so excited. And then after that, I was like, we could have a boy or we could have another girl, whatever.
That's funny. We are the complete opposite. I was
Really,
so nervous to have a girl. I was
really.
terrified. And we were convinced for some reason, because Randall's family, the oldest is the boy. My
Uh-huh.
family, the oldest is the boy. So I think we just were like, yeah, we're having a boy first. Literally everyone in our family, like our gender reveal, you guys were there. Like
Mhm.
everyone was like thinking it was a boy. I
Yeah.
think the only one who said was Grandma Donna, your mom.
Okay.
She was like, I think it's a girl. And I was like, you're crazy, and it was a girl. And I remember after that ultrasound, we just sat, Randall and I got breakfast after, and we just sat there in silence. And I was like, does the doctor really know? Like, did she really know what she was seeing? So it's funny. We were like, yeah, of course. And, here Jane is. But being the complete opposite, being so nervous to have a girl and then like so excited to have a boy. And obviously love both my kids. But yeah,
Yes. Yes. So, and
that,
I felt very lucky to have one of each.
yes.
And I don't know, had I had two boys, I don't know if I would have maybe tried for a third to get a
Hmm.
girl or not, but it didn't matter once I had a girl. And
Yeah.
of course, I love my boy too. I love that I have one of each. And so
Yeah.
after that, I was content. I wasn't, I was good. I wanted two, I got two, and so that's kind of my background
Yeah.
and becoming a mom. And I got to stay home with them a lot when they were young, and I subbed part-time, so I was very grateful that I was in a position to do that. And not I know not everybody is, but I was very lucky to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's my birth story. So, and our backgrounds on becoming moms. So next, having introverted versus extroverted children. Now, are you starting to see those personalities come out in your kids?
It's
And
so interesting because I really don't know. I feel like there's moments where more so with Jane, my daughter, because she's
Mhm.
4. So Owen is he's just doing his thing. He's just a little toddler running around like wrecking everything in his path. So who knows? Um, I really at this point, I think Jane might be more on the introverted side. That's my
Mhm.
guess, just
Okay.
because of how she interacts. One thing I really noticed was we were at a play date with some friends. The group of kids she was with, she was always like kind of in between. Like there was 3 kids that were about the same age, a little bit older than her, 3 kids about the
Mhm.
same age, a little bit younger than her. And so she kind of didn't know where she fit. Like she would try to play with the older kids, but it was like a little too much. And then she'd kind of play with she'd bounce back and forth. But I always would notice she would play and interact, and then every so often she would just go off and like sit and read a book or go do something on her own. Like she's very good at self-regulating. I've noticed that, but I just wondered, I'm like, I wonder if that's her just like, I need my own space. Um, but she can also have moments of being extroverted, and I just wonder if it's more she is very strong-willed, as was I. That at some point in my life kind of died out, and I feel like I got really subdued. But no, I feel like she is a lot like me. My husband says that all the time. So my guess at this point is that she's going to be more introverted. So then that naturally makes me think like, oh, then Owen's probably going to be more extroverted. But but I don't know. He is more um like people pleaser, interactive, even at a
Mm-hmm.
young age. Jane was like, you'd be like, "Oh, hi," someone she knew, like my parents or, her other grandparents, my in-laws. She'd
Yeah.
kind of like stand there and give you the stink eye, like, I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
I need to warm up. But Owen's just like, hey, what's up? And is just happy to see everyone. So
Yes.
that would be my guess right now. But I also,
Sure.
like, I remember with my younger brother, Ben, I mean, you remember him as a baby and as a toddler, it was like, oh, he is outgoing, extroverted for sure. And now that
Mm-hmm.
he's an adult, he's not that way anymore. So I'm like, I don't know, how that will maintain. Obviously, I know what your kids are, but how was that like with them growing up? Did you anticipate that or what was that like?
So when I first, had Riley, I just remembered how I was as a child. So when I would take her to like the nursery or even kindergarten, I was prepared for this girl to be clinging to me. And I remember when I took her to kindergarten, she was like, bye. And
Peace out.
I was like, oh, okay. I did not know what to do. I did not like I wasn't prepared for that at
Yeah.
all. I mean, I was very happy for her, but I was like, oh, okay. And I remember she went off, and I remember that day I would drive by and I was kind of the stalker. Like they'd be out at recess, and I'm like, she okay? She's fine. Like she loved situations. She would this was like always uncomfortable for me, but she would go up to people and introduce herself. Hi, I'm Riley. I'm four. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to talk to these. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's my daughter. And but she was just always up for anything. And she was not afraid to talk to people. I mean, she started talking before a year. And just yeah, was just a complete opposite of me. So she's just was very outgoing. Now, as she's gotten older, I think she's become more of an ambivert.
Mhm.
But I think she still gets her battery charged by being around people socially more. Like I could literally be holed up in this house like a hermit and be fine. And she can do that for a little bit, but then she gets antsy. And so
Yeah.
I think there's still a little bit of that in her. So she was pretty
Yeah.
cut and dry. With Alex, it was hard to tell because at 2, he was diagnosed with autism. And he was just more living in his own world. He wasn't really interested in the outside world, but I don't think it was because he was shy or something. He just was, I think with his being on the spectrum, that just kind of affected his personality.
Mhm.
And so yeah, he was quiet, but not like seemed shy. He just was
Yeah.
like, I'm just doing my own thing. I'm in my own world.
Yeah.
And so that now as he's gotten older, um, I don't know, like he's able to, I don't know. I don't, there's not like a clear cut thing for him either.
Yeah.
I don't know. What
I
do you
feel like
think?
I feel like they both started on such extremes and definitely Riley personality,
Hmm.
Alex probably more, being on the spectrum, but I do feel like as
Yeah.
they've gotten older, it's like I don't know that they've necessarily switched, but they both started so extreme
Hmm.
and now they've kind of come towards that middle because my husband
Yes.
Randall is definitely I always want to say omnivore every time amnivore
Ambivert.
amnivert because I always feel like I'm going to say it wrong. Um yeah, so kind of that in between where it's like some situations, but again, comparing the two and having you and Niles as parents who are
Yeah.
pretty textbook introvert, extrovert,
Yes.
it's like there's such a comparison. But yeah, I think
Hmm.
that they've definitely come more towards the middle and
Yeah, I feel the
yeah,
same way. Like I'll see ways that Alex is maybe introverted, but I also see him putting himself out there and doing things that I'm like, oh, okay. He
yeah,
made, even with his job,
yeah,
he wanted to, work for the Modesto Nuts. That's our local ball team. But he didn't want to like sell tickets. He wanted to be like a scorekeeper, and he
mm,
found the person in charge, and he talked to and made it happen. And I'm like,
like
dude, that's
what?
crazy. Like
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't
no,
know how to do that.
no. You're like, I didn't teach you that.
No. One thing about Riley too, she was always friends with the boys. the boys
Mm,
wanted to play and be ready. The
yeah.
girls would sit at the table and finish their lunches. I remember driving by, I was the stalker, seeing how lunchtime was going. And I'm looking at the table and I'm like, where's Riley? And then I look at the playground with all the boys, and there she is, just
Right in the middle.
right in the middle. And
Yep.
she's always been like, she's just never had time for girl drama. And I'm very thankful for that, because I never had to deal with a lot of that.
Yeah.
Even her being a girl, she didn't have time for it. And
Yep.
she had better things to do. And
Yes.
it was definitely a blessing to have her be her personality for Alex, because
Yeah.
she really was able to draw a lot out of him. And even like Ben, how he said he was
Gosh.
wild, but that was something Alex
Yeah.
needed. Well, at first he was a little scared of him, but eventually he became a peer play person for
Yeah.
Alex, same as Riley. So there were people in his life
Yeah.
that he, really, it was really not nice to have
Yeah.
that, and that helped him out a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Now I'm curious, now that because you're around my kids quite a bit, I'm
yes,
curious
yes,
what your perception of them is. I mean, again, they're little and it's hard to
yeah.
tell, but just what you've noticed so far.
Well, there are things about Jane that remind me of Alex, in the sense that he just needs time. He always needed
Yeah.
time to kind of warm up, and she's the same way.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, we
Yes.
jump into here it is, like Riley needs
Yeah.
some time, and I can relate to that as well. So I can definitely see that she's
Yeah.
more introverted. Now, Owen, it's hard because he's
Yeah.
young.
He is so little.
I think maybe in the next year or two, so
Yeah.
we'll kind of see. But right now he seems kind of fairly outgoing for, he's
Yeah.
not like too shy to come to me, someone who
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily, I'm not around all the time, but he seems
Yeah.
like he's, but that could be just being the ageist too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be really fun to see
Yes.
what his personality turns into.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now let's talk about the benefits of being an introverted mother. So what are some of the benefits that we have here being introverts?
I had such a hard time answering this question. I don't know why. It was just like trying to come up with, I kept thinking of challenges. It was like I was like, "Oh, maybe." And then I'm like, "No, that goes in the other section." So it kind of led me through to this a seeming like my perspective, a seemingly negative thing that I think is actually a positive. One thing that I tend to do is, and I think as moms, we all do compare ourselves to other moms, whether that's people in our lives, social media, whatever, positive, negative, whatever it is, a lot of comparisons. Um, and I see a lot of people that just do so much with their kids, and they're like, we got them into sports and we got them into gymnastics and karate and all these things. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that just sounds exhausting." And then I go into the rabbit trail of like, am I gonna limit my kids because I'm introverted and don't wanna do all these things? And that's like, as my daughters become an older toddler or young kid, wherever she's at, it just I've had so much of that, but I've realized that I think is gonna be such a good thing, especially specifically in my situation. My husband and I both work, so 2 working parents, that's just a lot going on as it is. But I really think it's helped my daughter learn how to like self-regulate and just the limits we've kind of had and put on stuff, and nothing like explicit, like, oh, we only do this and this. But when it's like, hey, we just got to take a break. I'm exhausted,
Mhm.
I'm overstimulated, whatever. I kind of mentioned that earlier, like when she would play with other kids, she would just have moments where she'd go and do her own thing. And even at like 2, 3, we would be out. I think one time we were at Christmas with the family and she was just like, "Mom, I just want to go to bed." Like and I'm like, you're with all your family. You are like having all the sugar. You're having so much, like all the good things."
Mhm.
But she just was able to be like, "Nope, this is what I need and this is what I'm doing." So that's something that I'm kind of learning more recently is like, hey, no, that's a good thing. Like, I think I'm starting to
Yeah.
teach her some of that self-regulation in our like, just in our culture in America, and just
Mhm.
it's like busy, go, go, go nonstop, and I think that gets so pressed on us as parents, and then we, like, push that onto our children, like,
Mhm.
"Well, I wanna do the best thing, and I want them to try all of these things," and but it's like, okay, they're kid, like, are they really, like, is your 3-year-old really going to be like, oh, they're going to be a soccer star because I started them and that, and, to each his own, some people will, but I
Sure.
just think for us, it's like, it's okay. It's okay that, not all that is happening. So that's one of the biggest things that I've noticed lately is just the ability to, again, self-regulate and say no, and, you know, teaching that to our kids instead of just pushing that overstimulation nonstop from the beginning. But
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
That's literally on my list. I don't care if my kids are involved in millions of activities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I mean, I definitely, we had them in certain things, but I didn't feel the need to have them in multiple things just because for our own sanity.
Yeah.
I just couldn't, it was too much.
Yeah.
And we already had pretty full schedules with church on the weekends.
Mhm.
And so, while a lot of families are doing travel ball and this and that, that was never an option because we always had, our church things. But yeah, it's just like I'm able to go, we don't need to be in all that. And,
Yeah.
some people really enjoy it and thrive on it, but
Yeah.
I just yeah, I never felt that need. And
Yeah.
even when my kids were in things, I loved it. I loved watching them do whatever. But when they were out of it, I was thrilled. Like I just drove by today the baseball field that Alex played
Mhm.
on for since he
Yeah.
was 6 till like middle school. And I enjoyed the games, but I saw the full parking lot and I drove by and I went, thank goodness I don't have to go to those games anymore. And I sound so callous because some people are like, oh, I remember those days. And I'm like, yeah, anytime my kids, when I was in it with them, I was in it. But
Totally.
when they left it, I'm good. I have no like emotional attachment or regrets. It's like I'm happy to move on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a benefit of an introvert mother. And also I think another benefit is for myself personally, I'm able to regulate my own emotions in front of my kids. So I'm
Mhm.
not someone who's prone to outbursts and I'm not saying all extroverted people are like this, but I've never been someone who, feels the need to yell or, get things done, take care of things. I'm able to, and I think that's good quality to have for kids to see that you can, figure things out in a different way other than verbally assaulting someone. I might be doing it in my head, but
Yeah.
so I saw that also as a benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think kind of on that same idea, um, I think the depth and the level of processing, I think, is just something for introverts, just that constant. Um, and I've noticed, like, with, there's only so many things you can prep for as a parent. You like walk into a situation, you're like, oh, I don't know what we're doing with this. Um, Again, my husband's kind of in the middle of that. And I feel like we both have that introvert quality of that depth of processing. And I think that's helped us because we are like, okay, we take the situation, we do what feels right, but then we can come back to it and be like, hey, you know what? Like, I didn't love that. Or maybe let's, I feel like that introspective, that,
Hmm.
which sometimes can lead to overthinking for me, but is
Hmm.
is is a nice quality to just like, okay, let's sit and figure this out, and kind of like what you said, not jumping into it,
Hmm.
but having that time. And then, which is not easy, then have the, situations where I almost have to like come back to my kids and be like, hey, like, I didn't do that right, or hey, like, that was not the right call, and
Hmm.
being open to that, and again, giving it that time to process instead of being reactive.
Yes, yes. No, I think those are very good
Yeah.
points.
Yes.
So on sort of the similar note, what are the challenges of being an introverted mother?
Uh, See this, I'm like, oh, I have plenty. I could go on
Yeah,
forever.
right. Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
but I think the big one that jumps to mind is social environments and the dreaded play dates and going to the park, and oh my gosh, that's like the big thing that sticks out in my mind is just uh, being in situations where like small talk is expected, or, it's funny you say, Riley, your daughter would go up and just talk to people. Um, Jane wouldn't do that. We were at the park once, and no joke, she walked up to the park bench. There was like a dad and his son, or I assume a father and son, and they're sitting there, and she just walks up and she stands like a foot away from them and just stares at them. Like didn't say anything, and I was like, oh, I'm like, okay, Jane, like let's go do the whatever. And she's just, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to go talk to these people. And it's those kind of things. It's your kid is like grabbing something from another kid, and you're like, oh, no, 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 don't do that. And they're like, oh, it's fine. And you're like, no, it's okay. And then you're like, oh crap, I have to have a conversation. For me,
You're
that's,
forced into it.
oh, you're like, oh, but I thankfully have had a much better perspective on that lately, because that, and I know we'll probably talk about this in a future episode, that balance of wanting to be alone, but then falling into loneliness
Hmm.
for me is huge. I have a really hard time finding and making friends, which I think is, for a lot of adults like my age, it's hard, but
Hmm.
especially as like a mom, I'm like, oh, I wish I had more friends. I wish I went and did stuff with people that I'm comfortable with. And then I'm out and about and I'm like, no, don't talk to me. Don't interact with me. And I'm like, okay, this is never gonna work. But I had talked about that with my therapist, and she like stopped me. She was like, Abbie, you realize that even outgoing people don't really like small talk as much as I think you think they do. And I was like, oh, I never thought that. I always just was like, yeah,
Yeah.
extroverted people just want to chit chat, and some people do.
Yeah.
But the more situations I've been in, because before I would just almost force it and be like, oh, yeah, okay, like, but
Right.
I'm like, just sitting in that silence, I'm like, oh, I don't think they really wanted to talk to me. They were just like pushed into that. But
Right.
um, yeah, no, that's definitely a big thing. And then again, just the go, go, go and the overstimulation, and that's so
Yes.
hard. And specifically, again, social stuff, I feel like there's like our social battery. You just hit a point and
Hmm.
you're just like done.
You're done. Hmm.
Definitely at, kids' parties or whatever, I hit a point where I'm like, oh, okay, I want to go home. And then your kid's in the middle of something and you're like,
Yes.
oh, do I just like suck it up? Or am I like, no, we're leaving right now?
Makes it
But
hard.
even outside of social stuff, I feel like just having that constant stimulation, interaction,
Hmm.
now that, like you're in that toddler stage where they're always needing something and they can talk and they can communicate, which is great. But then it's like, oh, what's this? And why is that? That and that, da, da. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I just like, you need a break as a parent. But also I'm like, my brain is done for the day. And
Hmm.
there's some days where the days that I don't work and I'm home with the kids, Randall comes home and I'm just like, I need 10 minutes with no one asking me for
Hmm.
anything.
Yes.
So that's a huge challenge. And I know that
Huge.
evolves as your kids get older, and then it becomes like they want to tell you about their day or their, friend
Yes.
situations. And I'm like, oh, just when you're like, I love you, I swear I love you, but just can't have a conversation right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I totally get that. And especially, working, I think of people, teachers, because I wasn't working full time when my kids are young, but those who are dealing with kids and stuff all day, and then they get home and it's like it's
Yeah.
more of the same, and
When I
the
worked
patience level is like,
Yes. When I
no.
worked in the hospital, I didn't even think about this, but when I was in postpartum around babies all day, I'm like, I've literally spent 12 hours around crying babies, and then I have to come home to my own crying baby. I'm like, oh no, it literally never ends.
That's
If
a
it's mine or
lot.
someone else's, nonstop. Yeah,
Oh,
just
geez.
exhausting.
Oh man. Yeah, I
Oh,
totally get that.
ugh.
So for me, I think one of the things that's hard for me is being a role model in having my kids stand up for themselves.
Mm,
I mean, not that I mean, I can when I need to, I guess, but it's just not a comfortable thing for me. But I want them to be able to do that for themselves instead of hide in the corner like that's my default.
mhm,
So that's kind of a challenge for me to be that kind of a role model. Also like when I was, they were younger and I would take them to like the doctor's office, like, okay, I'm the one who has to ask all these questions. I'm like, where's my mom? Ask my mom. Oh, wait, I'm the mom. Okay, so I got it. I got to be that person now.
Uh,
And making the phone calls and just doing the things that I are not comfortable, but it's like, well, you're the mom. You have to do it. And
yeah.
so that kind of presents some challenges, those kind of things. But yeah, and I totally, the way you said how Jane would walk up, and just stare, Riley introduced herself to everybody. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm talking to this person and
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
and it just, yeah, they kind of force you into situations that you have to
Would
go
not
with.
naturally be
And
in. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Jane's thing now is to say hi to everyone. Like everyone. I'm glad she was in a phase where she wanted to know everyone's names, but
Okay.
she wouldn't ask them. She would just ask me. She'd be like, we'd be at the grocery store and
Uh-huh.
there's, someone stocking shelves. What's her name?
Oh no.
I don't know. What's her name? Like she wants me to go ask that person their name to then come back and tell her. I'm like,
Oh my
nope, we're shutting that
goodness.
down real quick. That's not how
That's
this is gonna go. But
so funny.
yeah, that the challenge of advocating and being, outspoken in those moments when you're just naturally not is
Yes,
so that's hard. But I do think
totally.
for me at least, parenting has kind of brought that out in me a little bit.
Mhm.
We've mentioned before, it's so much easier to do that for someone else than for yourself. And I think
Mhm.
there have been moments, which is good because that's a huge fear of mine. Like, especially as kids get older and they're like,
Mhm.
stuff's going to happen with friends and at school.
Yep.
And, like there's safety stuff and there's,
Yep.
really important things that I'm like, oh, when the rubber hits the road, I really hope. And I think I will. I think enough situations so far. Um, little things to where I'm like, okay, I think I have it in me. And, when it's
Yeah.
for my kid, obviously
Right.
that would trump what I would do for myself. But yeah, that's so hard to it brings up a good point of modeling things for your kids that you don't naturally do yourself and
Mhm.
how you like because that's how they learn, they're little sponges and they just kind of copy what you do in a lot of ways. So how do you don't want to force something and make it,
Right.
artificial or fake, but
Mhm.
like showing them or encouraging, having a child that's an extrovert, how do you encourage those things when you're like, I have no desire to do that, but how do I prompt
Mhm.
you, in something that you're passionate about? Yeah, that's a big
Yes.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's not, and I know a lot of people are like, talk about being the mama bear and you just crossed me. And obviously if something happened, I would be that, but it's not like a natural thing to be for me to just be like, watch out, here I come, it's
Yeah.
just not. Not that it doesn't mean I would throw my kids under the bus. Of course I would stand up for them, but it's a challenge.
It's almost like it's there internally, but just
Yes.
getting it outside. That's what's so hard is it's like, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
know I have that passion and that like protectiveness, but I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how do and sometimes it's all or nothing too, because it's so not my nature to do that, that when it does
Mm-hmm.
come out for moments, I'm like, oh, that just went from 0 to 100 real fast. And I don't like know how to do that because I don't regularly do that. But
Yes. Well, and I was thinking to when Alex was going through being his diagnosis, um, I was just kind of paralyzed and I just kind of followed, what I was supposed to do, but I wasn't someone who is, I hear all these people who are just advocates and they sit down and they research and study, and I'm like, that's amazing. I don't know. I was just like a deer in the headlights. And I just went, okay. But I literally had people like, okay, you need to do this. Okay. You need to do this. And, hindsight, like, I'm looking and I think God placed people in my life because I think he knew my personality and what I needed
yeah,
and everything, every path he guided me on. It's just, I look back and I just could only go, that was God. But at the time I was just very like, okay, what do I need to
it's
do? And
overwhelmed. Yeah.
yeah, and
Can't even
so
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, and I definitely internalized a lot of anxiety and stuff, and then that came out later. Physically, I was having issues, and I went to doctors, and I thought this was wrong, and then
Mm.
finally my doctor said, there anything stressful going on in your life? And I'm like, yeah. And I
Oh, by
realized,
the
oh,
way,
I have anxiety.
yeah.
Okay, this is new. And so we treated that. But yeah, so it's just the way I'm not able to um I don't know, outwardly express probably like I should. I internalize so much, and then it does cause physical things to happen
Oh,
to you. So
yeah,
yeah. But
absolutely.
so yeah, lots of interesting challenges that
Yes.
motherhood brings out. But
Yes. Motherhood nonetheless, right? But then you
oh my
add any
gosh.
sort of
Oh yeah.
anything, but
Yeah,
oh,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we love
Um
it.
oh, we
We
do.
it's
Absolutely.
crazy. It really is the craziest thing. I was telling someone the other day, like you look back at the newborn years and I would always joke with my patients in the hospital, like, they're in like the worst part of labor and they're like, why
Hmm.
do people ever do this? And I'm never doing this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we don't remember everything. If we remembered everything, no one would have more than one child.
No,
You just kind of block
exactly.
things out and move through. Like I remember the first time
Absolutely.
sleeping like 4 consecutive hours after I had Jane, and
Hmm.
it was a long time. And I was like, how am I still alive? Like, how is that the first time that's happened in months? You just, when you're in it, you just do it and then you
Hmm.
see it in retrospect and it's like, okay, I don't know how that happened, but it did. And we
Hmm.
got through and we're still here and
Yep.
ready for the next thing. But
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. No, it's crazy. Um, so how do you maintain sanity as an introvert when life gets crazy? What are things that you do to just,
Yes. And this is so fresh for me because I'm just kind of out of that not newborn, but like baby
uh-huh.
stage. And I think, I mean, that's, I've only been a parent 4 years, but that was the hardest for me because I'm like, okay, I know I need time to myself
Hmm.
and time to just like, sit down, relax, whatever. And when you have a baby who is dependent on you and can do nothing for themselves and refuses to sleep, that's always a fun added element.
Hmm.
It's like, I can't, I literally cannot be by myself.
Yeah.
Um, and for me, it really, I think it was an adjustment kind of in our marriage and in parenting from being okay being independent because I feel
Hmm.
like for so long it was like, okay, the baby's asleep. Now I have time with Randall. We have time to hang out. And like,
Hmm.
because that's not happening at all.
Yeah.
Transitioning that to then being like, okay, like I love you and I want to spend time with you, but maybe I need to spend this time like by myself.
Hmm.
For us, that looked like I would once a month go out and like go to the spa, get my nails done, like have a thing that I did. And that was seriously a lifesaver. Like that, I looked forward to that. I knew like it was a set aside, either we got a sitter, I did it on the weekends when Randall was home. It just was like as hard as it is, like whether it's time or finances or whatever, like finding something that I could do even once a month, a couple hours a
Hmm.
month, that was like what saved me. And I'm like, it was such a seemingly small thing, but it was huge. And now that's evolved a little bit more and obviously a lot easier now that the kids are older, but
Yes.
really making that time and knowing what works for you. Because that was
Hmm.
another thing. I don't know if it's me or an introvert thing, but like I don't find myself attached to like hobbies. And people are like,
Hmm.
oh, go do whatever you would do before you had kids. And I'm like, sit and watch Netflix. I don't know. Like okay. I do a lot of that all night when I'm up feeding my kid, but it just doesn't feel the same way. So
Hmm.
kind of finding something new or tweaking what was old, to make it
Hmm.
work for you, was I feel like that was my biggest thing. Again, more
Yeah.
so when kids are little, but that's the stage that I'm in. But
Yeah.
what about you? What do you?
Yeah. I'm trying to think back to when I was in your stage and um yeah, so Alex started getting therapy when he was, well, he started at 2, getting just about 4 hours a day, and then when he got to 3, it was 8 hours a day. And of course, that was just an absolute huge adjustment. But a part of it was kind of nice in the sense that it was kind of like having a nanny. And like when we would go out, they would want us to do outings. And I remember going to the library and we were checking out, and I think Riley had to go to the bathroom, and I was kind of stressed what I'm gonna do. And the therapist was like, use me, it's okay. And I went, oh. And then I started going, "Hey, you wanna go to the grocery store with me? Hey." And I went, "This is great." So that was really nice. I mean, there was a lot of challenges with having people in your house all the time, but that
Right.
was one of the little benefits that I
Yeah.
found that gave me a little time,
Yeah.
to myself. Yeah, I'm trying to think what I did. I feel like I just had so much more energy back then to
Yeah.
do stuff when I had the time, and now I have a lot of time. I don't
Mm.
wanna do any of it anymore. I don't know if it's just
Yeah.
I'm getting older or like I think that's what the pandemic proved to me. Finally, I had all this time to like get my house organized and I went, I have time and I do not want to do it. And that's
Yeah.
when I went, things have changed. I'm a different person
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But now, it is interesting because I am, on my own a lot more.
Mm.
The kids have their schedules, they have work, they're out. I'm going to bed before they come home, which is a huge transition. And so now I just kind of find things that, like kind of tinker around on the piano or, I make TikToks, that's fun, or um, reading, spending time with my dog, just kind of those kinds of things. I just kind of carve out times to do that. I used to fill every available moment trying
Mm.
to, clean my house and do this and that. And now I don't know, I don't find the urgency to do those kinds of things anymore.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it is a different vibe when the
Mhm.
kids are this age, but it's really nice too. Like I see all these young parents and I just want to tell them, you're getting there. You're getting there. It's
It's me. I'm the young parent.
it's gonna happen someday. You're gonna have that uninterrupted sleep, and of course, there's other things that you that take the place of what you're dealing with. A lot of
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, it's so hard when they're young." It's physically hard, but then there's a lot of emotional,
Yeah.
mental, just different things that you deal with
Yeah.
the older. But yeah, I do try to find time for myself. I need that because with especially with a job, both of us have jobs that
Yeah.
are just on the go and just very draining, and so but yeah, so that's kind of how what I've been doing to keep sane. Usually just tired. I just want to sleep all the time, really, is basically,
Yep.
that's my
Yeah.
hobby.
Yep. Hey, we did find a hobby. We are making a podcast.
Hey, why didn't I even mention that?
Woohoo!
Yes. Like literally, I go to work and I'm thinking about our episode or I'm thinking about
Yes.
this and it's fun. It's like, oh, so totally. Yes.
Yeah.
I am totally loving this hobby. It is so
So great.
fun. So
My
fun.
first hobby. It's wonderful.
Right?
Oh, that's
Oh,
so good.
that's so good.
Oh,
Um, so we did have a couple questions from the question box that I completely did not read the directions for and started answering. And then I went, oh, whoops, my bad.
it all
That's
worked
okay.
out.
That's okay. So I have one, we got one from this is from my coworker Rebecca. She's one of my music teachers I work with. She's amazing. Love her so much. She had a question which was really a good one that I've thought about too. It says, "Has motherhood brought out more extrovert characteristics in you both? I noticed with myself, also an introvert, that play dates, since I knew they were important for my daughter's growth and development, forced me to break out of my comfort zone and socialize with people more." So how do you feel? Like, do you feel like you've become a little more extroverted in certain areas because you kind of have to, or it's important for your children?
I would say yes and no to that. There are definitely things that I've gone out and done and like, we signed my daughter up for gymnastics recently and just like getting there and sitting with the other parents and there's so many
Mhm.
dynamics to that. And again, I would feel this such heavy pressure to like, okay, you need to perform and be on and be extroverted and outgoing and almost like reverting to that, messages I feel like I got when I was younger that this is the way to be. So, yes, in some sense it'll push out of that comfort zone, but I also feel like I'm on this kind of journey of just being like more confident in who I am
Mhm.
and like it's okay. Like if I don't want to talk to anyone, that's okay. And so less becoming more extroverted and more just like being comfortable in my own introversion and being okay. But I will say there have been moments. Um, the biggest thing is singing in public. Like I literally used to never sing in front of anyone ever, ever. I think Randall and I were like engaged before he ever heard me sing. Like it just was never a thing. And now I'm like in the grocery store, singing wheels on the bus, walking around because I have to. So less of a choice, more out of desperation. But yes, there are things that in the moment I'm like, who am I?
Ooh,
Like, how is this happening? But
never envisioned myself doing this, but here we're at. Here we
mm,
are.
yeah, actually. What about you?
So yeah, I'm thinking about like with the kids and their friends, I think it's important to really get to know the friends and just the families. And so as an introvert, I, kind of just would my tendency would want to be to shy away, but I need to get to know these people. So I remember, especially in middle school, when the friends are together, if I'm driving them, really making a point to talk to them, get to know them, kind of fill them out just for my own kids.
Yeah.
These are the people they're hanging out with. So I just kind
Yeah.
of want to make sure that things are, these are okay people. So just kind of that's kind of brought out some extrovertedness in me. And then just, taking them on outings, going to the library sing-alongs and just having to I don't know, just be the person that initiates a lot. I'm not someone who initiates, but you
Yes.
got to initiate to keep
Yep.
that going. And so yeah, definitely. I have become a little more extroverted when I need to, but
Yep.
like you, I'm also becoming a little more comfortable with not feeling like I have to do things a certain way like I used to when I was younger. And I think that for me, that's just with age. Some things definitely change a little bit, and we're just like, I don't care.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's
So,
funny.
okay, and then I had a couple questions from my daughter, Riley. She said first one was, how do you recharge your battery when raising kids?
I think we kind of touched on
And we
this a
kind of
little
touched on
bit,
it.
but I
Yeah.
think one big thing I've done is rearranging things to make it fit, and
Hmm.
having the realization of like, for me to be the best parent that I can be for my kids, I
Yes.
need to prioritize myself, and that's okay. And like
Hmm.
drop kicking mom guilt because it's just ever looming and the worst. And like,
Right.
my kids are going to watch some Bluey for a little bit while I get the dishwasher done, and
Yep.
that is okay. And
Hmm.
that's fine because I'm going to get productive. I'm going to check something off my list. They're going to be fine. So again, letting go of some of that and just sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. But
Yep. Yep.
yep.
And I think I answered this question on a slide, but I think one thing was keeping schedules, just having set rest time schedules, bedtimes. And one funny thing about rest time, I used to have this little kitty timer. It was just like one of those twisty timers. And for
Mhm.
Riley, I needed a break from, just in the day. So you go,
Same here.
it's okay if you don't sleep, you need to lay down, be alone. So I'd turn it to a certain time. Well, I found out years later, scandal. It was just so funny. Riley's like, sometimes I would turn it a little so it would be less time.
That's
And I
awesome.
wouldn't notice because she just did little increments, but she thought she was like totally
Yeah.
getting away with something. So I'm like,
That's funny.
oh,
Yeah, Jane is like developmentally doesn't need to sleep every day, but I'm
uh-huh.
like, mommy needs rest time. So you're
Yes,
going to hang out in your room for a little bit because I'm not ready to lose that chunk of my afternoon. So absolutely.
exactly. And then the other question was, from Riley, how was it having people wanting to touch your stomach while pregnant? Did you have issues?
I never had a stranger touch my stomach. Thank goodness. Cause I probably, again, internally, I would have been like, get away. But outside, I would
Hmm.
have just been like, oh, like just awkward smile and nod. But I don't
Yes.
think I ever had a weird, I feel like people say a lot of weird things and just like have this,
Yeah.
okay, like, sure, I'm just gonna open this up since you're pregnant, let's open this thing up. But no, I feel like it was always with permission and warranted and from people I knew and trusted. So I was like, okay, dodge that bullet. But I was definitely always worried about what do I do if someone does?
Yeah. I don't remember it happening much, but I was so excited to be pregnant and just like, I don't know if they maybe came up and gently touched I don't know. I don't remember it being a big deal. I don't think it happened a lot, but it wasn't anything like I was terrified of because I
Oh,
was like, well, there's my stomach and there's a baby in here, and so here we go.
right. Oh,
So yeah. Okay. So yeah, that takes us to the end. Our ending thoughts here. So let's see. Oh, our awkward moments of the week. And my weeks are just filled with them. This is not hard for me to come up with, but
uh,
what is your awkward moment?
um, okay, I have to say my most awkward moment was watching the TikTok that we made. I make like talking about things TikToks, but I have never done a dance TikTok. And I was with you and I was like, yeah, we can do it. This looks fun. This looks great. And in the moment, I'm like, haha, and I watched it. And I was just like cringing so hard. And the more I had to stop. I was like, I can't watch this anymore. But I'm sure it looks fine to everyone else. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But, I'm like, I watch other people's and I'm like, oh, that's, like great. But I just seeing myself, it was just like,
Well, we're
oh
our own
boy.
worst critic, and there's
True.
and really, it's better when they're funny. And to me,
So
it's
true.
like you don't want to keep it polished, and then you redo it 20 times, and then it doesn't become fun anymore.
No,
So,
no.
but yeah, it's
But
definitely
thanks
takes
for
some
bringing
getting
me out
used
of my,
to.
yeah, out of my shell there.
Okay, so my awkward moment.
I'm so excited.
Um, so at one of my schools, they have every Wednesday they do an assembly the last 20 minutes, and it's like kids getting awards, blah blah blah, and at the end they have me lead the school song when I'm there. And I was just lately like, I get to the end of the day, I'm like, I don't want to stand out there for 20 minutes. I'm just gonna, so this last time, so I'm in the NPR and outside the door is the stage where they're having it. So I'm inside. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit in here and I'll kind of listen. When it gets toward the end, I'll go out and do the song. So I'm doing my thing. And then all of a sudden the door opens and it's my principal. And she looks at me and they're doing drawings. They're doing this big attendance thing where they spin a wheel and the kids get stuff and they do it for teachers too. Apparently they did it for teachers and I won. And she
No.
comes in and she goes, winner, winner. And I'm like, oh. And as she opened the door, there's just the whole school looking at me.
Oh
And I'm
gosh.
like, well, got caught. So
Thing
I
of
walk out.
nightmares.
I'm like, oh. And then she's like, maybe you should be present to win. To making a
Oh
joke. And I'm like,
no.
thank you. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll be coming to these. I was like, what are the chances? I
Of
mean, like,
course. The one
anyway,
time, of course.
like
Oh my gosh.
those good times. But anyway, it's very awkward. So,
Right.
all
Uh,
right. And then I think we're going to make it to the end of this recording. We have a few minutes.
yes.
So let's do our recommendations. What do you recommend?
Yes. My recommendation is the tattoo and piercing shop that I have been going to because I got a couple new piercings and
I
it's
love
been
it.
amazing. I love them. So I got the helix, which is like that upper cartilage, and then the daith. I
Uh-huh.
didn't know how to pronounce it. It's kind of that inner, it's tucked in the ear. But anyways, I got those done kind of spontaneously on Friday at Emerald Tattoo and Piercing, which is where I've gotten all my tattoos. And I think I've gotten them all done by shout out to Mitch. And I think yours are all Mitch as well,
Mine are
right?
all Mitch.
Yes, exclusive. He's the best. I've
And
had such a good experience there, and as someone who walked into a tattoo shop with like no idea. It was very overwhelming, but they're all like tatted up and you have this like envision of like, oh, these are going to be rough people. They are so cool and
they're the
so fun
neatest people.
and easy to be around
Mm-hmm.
and like not judgment because sometimes I'm like, I don't know what I want. What do you think? And it's so relaxing and it's so
Mm-hmm.
great and they've done an amazing job. They have locations in Modesto, Lodi, Elk Grove, and Roseville. So that northern central California area, if you are looking for tattoos or piercings, highly recommend.
Well, I'm literally going to piggyback on that was my recommendation too.
Yes,
And my
I love it.
recommendations we're talking about motherhood is get a tattoo with your daughter because
Ah,
this is our third one we've gotten together and it is so fun. And I've actually usually I have to take the lead on stuff, but I was nervous to do this thing and her being younger and I kind of followed her. I'm like, "Can you
yeah.
text and ask?" And I'm walking in
I
behind
do
her
that
and
to
like,
Randall all the time.
Okay, this is okay." But it's been so
Yeah.
fun. Like I never thought I'd be someone to get a tattoo. And then as you know, Riley got older and wanted to get one, I'm like, why not? And
Yeah.
now and they say it's addicting. I mean, even though the
Oh,
three I have, I'm pretty set, but I'm like, I could see why people say that. It's
I have a
totally
long list
addicting.
of, I think over the summer, just having more time to go and,
Yeah,
figure all the timing out. But yeah, no, I definitely want more. And okay, this was going to be my segue. And the fact that you said it's perfect. I might wait till I have more because again, I have a list, but I would love to do a video and do like a tattoo tour of us and
that would be
people our
awesome.
tattoos because I love
Yes.
talking about my tattoos and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like,
That
I
would be
want to
so
tell you all the
cool.
stories. So we
That
should
would
do
be
that at some
very
point.
cool.
But
Yeah. And Mitch, like I said, he did mine. I love him. So shout out to Mitch. And also Taylor
yes,
did Riley's. She's amazing.
yes,
It is so cool in there. And I think Daniel has pierced us all.
yes, yes.
So yeah,
Love them all.
Emerald Tattoo, and I'll try to link
Their website and stuff.
their Instagram
And
page.
yeah,
So yeah. So
exactly.
anyway.
Cool.
All
Sweet.
right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys, as
Yeah.
we talked about motherhood and all sorts of things. If you ever want to contact us about anything, ask a question, feel free to message us on any of our socials. So yeah,
Just don't call us because we're introverts.
no, we will not answer. So we will respond though in messages. So anyway, thanks
Yes.
for hanging with us, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks, guys.